going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
My break, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Swing and a miss. Oregon is headed to the Super Regional.
Fans being out there making this a great impact.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
It's a 12:30 kickoff when Oregon faces Illinois coming up at Autzen Stadium. Another top 25 battle for the Ducks between Oregon and the Fighting Illini. I have had to work myself into the fighting aspect of the Illini. I always just called them the Illini. Everything, though, I look at lists them as the Fighting Illini, which brings me to University of Utah men's basketball was always the Runnin' Utes. Honestly, I don't think I really call them the Runnin' Utes very often, and this is a bad broadcaster moment for me. Similarly, how often do you say Mighty Oregon or the Fighting Ducks? We kind of use that a little bit more interchangeably, I think. I've been thinking about this, honestly, like all week, that have I been saying something disrespectful to the Illini, the Fighting Illini, every time I say that on the air? I don't know. If there are any Illini fans that are tuned in, tell me. Like, honestly, I really don't know. We're going to talk with Dan Lanning, the Oregon football head coach, coming up here in just a little bit. Some of his thoughts coming off the practice field today. We've got that for you. And some news and notes around Oregon athletics. Also, last week, Coach Altman sat down with the media previewing the men's basketball season for a while. About 20 minutes, Coach Altman talked about a number of different things, and we didn't get to it last week with the short week, so I wanted to spend some time on that today. Make sure that you hear from Coach Altman here, at least for our show audience, if you missed it on YouTube or wherever else you might have caught Coach Altman's interview. And then we've got a number of Oregon football student-athletes to preview this upcoming matchup as well. And some pretty cool stuff. Oregon quarterback Dillon Gabriel announced as one of 16 finalists for the Campbell Trophy on Wednesday. The Campbell Trophy is college football's premier scholar-athlete award. Now, Bo Nix, Justin Herbert, Dennis Dixon, and Bill Musgrave have all been named a National Scholar Athlete. The fifth Oregon player to be named a National Scholar Athlete is now Dillon Gabriel. Pretty cool. Nix won the Campbell Trophy last year with the Ducks, and Herbert won the award in 2019. Elite company, though, recognizing an individual who's the absolute best in the nation for his combined academic success, football performance, and exemplary leadership. Dillon Gabriel is on that list. Congratulations to DG. Also, Oregon women's golf, they're playing, in the championship match today at Oklahoma City Golf and Country Club. Number 13 Ducks will face number 1 Arkansas today with Golf Channel coverage. Beginning right now, if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour, the Oregon women's golf team is on Golf Channel. The championship match after a great showing on Monday with a one-stroke lead. Ducks put together a fabulous performance yesterday, and they are in the championship match for the Stevens Cup, which is one of the premier women's golf tournaments of the entire season. Oregon women's golf, good luck to Derek Radley's team today. You can catch it on Golf Channel this afternoon. Also talking about basketball, Knight Mayhem. Oregon Athletics set to host Knight Mayhem on Monday, October 28th. The event is free, open to all ages, similar to years past. Doors will open at 6:30. The event will last till 8:30. Student athletes from men's basketball, women's basketball, volleyball, and acrobatics and tumbling will be in attendance. They'll pass out candy, participate in some Halloween activities along with fans. And some of the free activities include pumpkin and face painting, a photo booth, scavenger hunt, more going on. Bags, photos, food, and drink will be allowed. However, no autographs will be permitted. Costumes are encouraged at Knight Mayhem, October 28th at Matthew Knight Arena. Street parking available on 13th Avenue, 15th Avenue, and Villard Street. The 13th Avenue garage will be available for $2 as well. Fans are asked to enter and exit the arena via the north gate at Matthew Knight. Fans in attendance will also receive a special ticket voucher for an Oregon non-conference home game. Special ticket voucher at Knight Mayhem. Again, Monday, October 28th in Matthew Knight Arena. Free event, 6:30 to 8:30. Costumes are encouraged. It's Halloween. It's basketball. It's acrobatics and tumbling. It's volleyball. It's Matthew Knight Mayhem. I love that we're doing this again. It's an awesome event. Now, after practice today, Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach, met with the media. Every time we talk with Coach Lanning, it's brought to you by our friends at Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. Coach Lanning, right off the practice field today.
All right, good attack day. Feels good to have 7 days to prepare for a team, or compared to a short week. So I feel like our guys are locked in on point. Had some good red area work and third down work today.
What's been more from Dylan this past week, Dan, from one hash to the other out? I think you hit Evan 3 or 4 times on throws like that. Not unusual per se, just more this past week. Explain to fans just how difficult to throw some of those are.
Yeah, I mean, any quarterback that can work sideline to sideline, a lot of the outside throws you don't necessarily see in the college game. So when you have a guy that can do that, I mean, it's a big weapon.
Dylan's completing 62% of his passes that are 20 yards or further through the air. Why is he so accurate in those types of throws? What makes him so good at that?
Yeah, I just think decisive, knowing where he's taking the ball, and then having guys up top that can go win when you get those opportunities. We have some wideouts that'll go win and go attack the ball in those situations.
And Devin Jackson, somebody who's been taking advantage of his opportunities this season. Getting to know him the last couple of years, what can you say about just him as a person, the locker room presence?
Yeah, I just love his mindset, the way he attacks. He's a fun guy to coach. He's a fun guy to be around. His teammates enjoy him, and he's improving. He's consistently improved from his time here, so it's showing up on the field.
He scored 5 times touchdown-wise in the red zone this past week, but some of the short yardage, the red zone, third down, is just an area to possibly improve a little bit in the run game. Just what are some areas that you hope to try to improve there, particularly short yardage in the red zone?
Yeah, I think especially when you play a team like this, I would say they're an identity team. They have a clear identity that they want to be more physical than you, and those situations are situations that we have to be able to win.
Is there any update on Trayshawn's availability this weekend?
Yeah, he'll be available.
When you've had such success at this program over the years with transfer quarterbacks, how does that change the conversation you have when recruiting freshman quarterbacks out of high school?
Yeah, I think the biggest key is development. What's our quarterback look like, and have they developed when they've come here, right? And regardless of what their situation getting here, are we developing quarterbacks to become better players? And I think you've been able to see that in our program.
Anything from Coach Swank still stick with you, or do you think sticks with Robbie 20 years later?
In terms of what?
Anything from your days at Jewel?
Just enjoy my time. Yeah, enjoy my time getting to play for him.
Do you think the Jewel 9 is in any way torn in their allegiances this weekend?
No.
Won't be allowed back to 30A if they are?
Yeah.
Coach Lanning meeting with the media there, brought to you by our friends at WVCI. The Ducks and the Fighting Illini at 12:30, televised on CBS, 10:30 pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network. Our interviews this week, I'm going to talk with Chris Hampton, the Duck defensive backs coach, tomorrow about so many veterans in that room and an example of bringing guys in and making them all work together so quickly. That's one of my keys in this game, part of why I wanted to talk with Chris Hampton coming up this week. All right, when we come back, shifting gears a bit to basketball, we've still got Dylan Gabriel, Kenyon Sadiq, Matayo Uiagalelei, Kobe Savage, and Josh Connolly meeting with the media this week. But let's shift gears. Basketball is less than 2 weeks away. Knight Mayhem next week. Talking with Coach Altman next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. Coming up tonight, the Oregon Football Coaches Show. Dan Lanning and Tez Johnson will join us here just after 7 o'clock across the Oregon Sports Network on the Go Ducks YouTube, the Oregon Football social media channels as well. You can tune in live. Jerry and Jorgie talking with Coach Lanning, and I'll have Tez Johnson here. I'm looking forward to talking to Tez. He gave a 2-minute life story that he wasn't quite better than Bo Nix. I think we got to give him another chance. I think we give him another chance tonight. See if he can nail 2 minutes perfectly. Tez Johnson, one of the premier wide receivers in the country, going to be with us on the Coaches Show tonight. More info always available, goducks.com/radio. Dane Altman, the Oregon men's basketball head coach. Be talking with him coming up for pregame interviews here over the next few weeks. I'm looking forward to it. And Coach Altman sat down with the media, giving a little bit of a season preview as we get ready for the start of men's basketball season. Head coach Dane Altman here.
So assuming it's still the case, what is it like to go into a season where, knock on wood, you actually have everyone available?
Well, it's practices have been a lot more spirited this year. Man, the last few years, all we were doing at this time was running a bunch of dry stuff because we didn't want to get anybody else hurt. But the competition's been good. The guys been working really hard. Very pleased with their effort. With some of the long practices, their focus hasn't been what I wanted it to be. But for the most part, they've gotten after each other pretty good. The only guy we've had out is Supreme Cook, who's still not back from a scope that he had. But everybody else is practicing, and we've had very few missed days, which is encouraging at this point.
Little was playing really good before he got hurt and then got sick. Is he close to where he was maybe around this time last year? Or how's his development just been?
No, Nate's worked hard. I've been pleased with his progress, with his effort, great attitude. He's had a good summer and he's had a good fall. He's put on some weight. He's trying to take a more physical role. His maturity level, just been really good. And like I said, his focus has been so much better. So, like I said, I hope we do keep him healthy because he'll be a big, big part of our team. He's changing a lot of shots. He's blocked a lot of shots in practice, which, without Dante, someone's got to protect that rim a little bit. And Nathan's done a good job of that.
You said him sliding into kind of Dante's.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, we're going to play him in different spots. You know, obviously he can go outside and do some things that Dante couldn't. He's not quite as powerful as Dante inside, so we can't use him the same way. But I think there are some different ways that we can use Nate to show what he can do and what he's been productive at in practice.
Who are some of those other guys at the 5 spot? I just see so many of them are guards and wings by pass. Who else is going to work in the 5?
Well, Supreme, when we get him healthy, we'll play some in there. KJ, we'll play a little smaller. We could play real small. Well, we wouldn't be real small, but we could play with Brandon Angel there, and then play Mookie at the 4, and or even KJ at the 4, and we get some big guards with TJ, Bamba, and Raheem, Moss, Bam, Dez. So we've got some bigger wings that we could play smaller at the post and still be okay. But that's all predicated on Supreme getting back and how productive he'll be and how quickly we can get him up to speed.
You said immediately that you need to adjust to this new era of college football, that you were initially dragging your feet a little bit. Can you elaborate on that? What does that adjustment look like for you?
Well, I'm not getting adjusted to football, but basketball. It's just different. Guys coming here for different reasons, recruiting is so much different than it was. It used to be your relationship with maybe their junior college coach or their high school coach or their AAU coach, and a process of knowing the family. And the portal, it's been described as speed dating, and that's pretty accurate with the portal. But even freshman recruiting is different, and so I've had to adjust. It's kind of hard changing something that you've done for 30, 40 years. But I think we've made the adjustment. It's good to have our staff back, guys that I've known and I know are really effective. Tony Stubblefield back and Josh back, give us a big boost. They know me and have some faith in what I'm trying to do, and I've got a lot of faith in what they're trying to do. So,
is there a part of that change that you enjoy the most?
I'm sorry?
Is there a part of that change that you enjoy the most?
Oh, I don't know. I've always enjoyed going to practice. I think that's a big part of it. I enjoy seeing guys, get benefits. I said 10, 15 years ago, when the NCAA was bragging about bringing in $1 billion for the NCAA tournament, I thought it was really embarrassing that a lot of the parents weren't able to go. They couldn't afford to go. I mean, you can't sit there on one hand and brag about how much money you're bringing in, and on the other hand, the people who are responsible for that, some of their parents weren't able to go because of economics. And I thought that was really unfair, or parents not being able to go to a bowl game. So I personally thought players should have got some money, a long time ago, especially for their families and that, to get to games. And I think families at games is a big, big part of, the experience. So, but I think, the pendulum swung from one end to the other, and people are adjusting on the fly, and now we've got a bunch of new legislation possibly coming in, if the courts approve the revenue sharing and so forth. So it's going to be a whole new era for all of us. Change is coming, and in what form, I don't think anybody's sure.
Can you talk a little bit about leadership with Jermaine and Dante gone, kind of who's stepping up and what that leadership group is looking like?
That is a big hole for us to fill. Those two guys were tremendous. Dante, just with his presence and bringing it every day. Jermaine, with his consistency in practice and his effort level. And both those guys were older, and so guys have a tendency we had 3 freshmen come in last year, and some, Bam was a junior college transfer. And when you have those old guys that have been there, done that, there's just a natural progression there for leadership, and they did a tremendous job. We've got some guys that will step into that role this year. I think Brandon Angel, TJ Bamba, Raheem, those guys that are fifth-year guys. Nate's trying to step up, give us some leadership. KJ Evans has made a big jump from a year ago, just his consistency day in, day out. Really been pleased with that. He's leading us in deflections and rebounding. He's trying to do some of those things that a year ago, he wasn't quite focused on. So he's done a much better job. So I don't know if we have any 1 or 2 guys that are stepping up and taking the complete leadership role, but I've been very impressed with the way they brought it in practice. And some of the grad transfers, or the older guys, they're focused. There's a sense of urgency, and that always kind of brings the other guys along.
Going back to the freshmen, Jackson Shellstad was one of those players that had to step up in light of a lot of injuries last year. How have you kind of seen him grow from his freshman year now to this year?
Well, he's a little bigger, a little stronger, has a much better feel for what's going to happen this year than he did a year ago. He's always had a good work ethic. He's getting up extra shots. I've got to ask a lot more of him this year. Because of those injuries last year, defensively, we had to have him on the floor. He couldn't pick up fouls, and he's got to be much more aggressive defensively this year than he was a year ago. He's got to do a better job getting a few defensive rebounds because we don't have right now that pressure, not to foul. We've got Keyshawn, we've got Raheem who can play the point. We've got depth, and so he's got to be much more aggressive defensively. He's got to do a little better job on the boards, and offensively stay aggressive. But also we've got some other guys who can score. He's got, his assist to turnover ratio also has got to take a step, in the right direction. And he did a nice job getting the ball to Jermaine and Dante last year. They did a nice job of getting him the ball. But he's going to have to distribute as a point guard, get a few more assists, and like all the players have been on him about turnovers. We got to get some shots on goal and being aggressive, but being smart, at the same time.
Stan Altman, Oregon men's basketball head coach, meeting with the media. A lot more from Coach Altman actually coming. And to give you an update on a few things, to put in context, like he said, Supreme Cook, a transfer who averaged over 10 and 7 a game at Georgetown. That's the only guy who's been out. Man, that's awesome to hear. It's the first time in the last few years that I think Coach Altman's really been able to get after it at practice at this point in the year because they haven't had to worry about guys getting banged up quite as much. Awesome to see. UC Riverside is the first opponent for the Ducks on Monday, November 4th. It's a 7:30 start. It's going to be I think, telling game when you got a veteran coach, Mike Matayo, who's been there now for 4 years at UC Riverside, a team that was around 500 last year. See what Oregon does in a game like that, right? Hit the ground running if you're the Ducks. And then on the next Friday, they play Montana. The way the non-conference schedule stacks up for the Ducks, you got UC Riverside, Montana, Portland, Troy, all here at Matthew Knight Arena. First 4 games are all at home. And then against Oregon State in Corvallis on Thursday, November 21st, before the Ducks will play in the Players Era Festival in Las Vegas. Texas A&M, San Diego State, and then we will see who it ends up being. Originally, that tournament was scheduled where the Ducks would play Creighton on Saturday. Now, they've revised that tournament to where it's actually a tournament. There will be seeds and advancing teams that will determine who the Ducks play on Saturday. Sure would be fun if it's Creighton again, though, right? Rematch from last year's great NCAA tournament game that didn't go Oregon's way, but still, what a game it was. Then the Ducks will start conference play against USC. In Los Angeles, on Wednesday, December 4th, conference play begins. Men's basketball season is going to be here soon. Monday, November 4th, it starts against UC Riverside. Timeout here in the Country Financial Studio. When we come back, more with Coach Altman here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
More Duck Insider from the Country Financial Studios after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember, back to the land of my first love. Would you spread wide your arms for this way?
It's Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here in the Country Financial Studio. Heard a bit from Coach Altman, now more from Oregon men's basketball head coach Dane Altman. Ducks have a deep roster, bigger guards, and some more experience returning now. Still stinks that N'Faly Dante didn't get that waiver from the NCAA, but the Ducks have, I think, as Coach Altman said, found some growth in Nate Biddle, hoping that he can be on the floor the whole year. KJ Evans, Kwame Evans Jr., who has, I think, taken that jump to a sophomore. But then, look, in the backcourt, you've got some experience and some toughness in TJ Bamba, Jackson Shellstad. Raheem Moss, a transfer from Toledo, who last year was pretty doggone solid for Toledo. Started for that Rockets team. See what happens for this team. But I think that the Ducks like what they've got. Coach Altman, part 2 of his season preview, the Oregon men's basketball head coach.
He was another guy that was playing well before he got hurt. Just how impactful is it for his decision to play another year of college basketball? He said he wasn't sure if he was going to do it around the injury time, and just what's his impact going to be, you feel like, with this team?
Well, Keyshawn was playing good when he went down last year. He gives us depth at both spots. The point, can play the off because he's shooting it really well. As with Jackson, he's got to get a little bit more physical on the defensive end and do a little better job there. But I've been really pleased with the way he's bounced back from his injury. His effort this summer, his effort this fall has been good. So I think he'll do a good job for us.
From a bookkeeping standpoint, because the roster is more full, I think you're using all 13 scholarships. So is Alexander on and Drew off, or who's the 13th? Because it looked like you had more bodies than scholarships at this point.
I'm not sure who you're asking about, but no, we have 13 scholarships. Drew's a walk-on, and I don't know who.
Ukrainian, I might be pronouncing.
Oh no, Sasha. I don't know how to pronounce his last name either. It's kind of a mouthful, you know. And I ask him, and he gives me different pronunciations each time. But no, Sasha's on scholarship. Yeah.
Dana, there's been a lot of talk for football about how travel on the West Coast impacts. How big of an advantage is it for you guys to be out here, and how much does that matter, focusing on your home games?
I don't know. You know, those teams only have to make one trip, so I don't think it's that big a deal for them. They're either coming to us in Washington or UCLA and USC on a road trip, one trip. We'll make 5. So I don't think it's that big a deal for them. I don't think it's that big a deal for us. You know, we've talked about it. We've spoke with a bunch of teams, you know, trying to figure it out. Fortunately, they're spaced out. You know, it will be more travel than usual, but I think, you know, we're making some arrangements to make it as comfortable as possible for our guys. 2 days in between each game. They have a 2-day prep rule in the Big Ten. You know, we only have the 1-day prep rule here in the Pac-12. So I don't think it's going to be that big a deal. We're just, you know, guys are young. I think I'll have to do a better job practice-wise. Maybe a little more film, a little less me putting them through the paces on the floor. You know, we're going to have to make some adjustments there in January, February, and March. But I don't really, you know, in analyzing it and the trips, it'll be a little different. And I got to really, like I said, I'll really have to save their legs and practice a few days. We're going to have to do a lot more film work, which is an advantage with an older team. You know, we've got a lot of seniors, a lot of guys with experience. So I think that's a big advantage, you know, when we're traveling around.
You feel that some of the split advantage, because you got 2 one-offs to LA rather than them being paired together, and the one-off to Minnesota is just bizarre, because that could have been paired with Seattle very easily. Since, I mean, you literally play Washington that week, but it's at home, so just from the logistics aspect, all the way to Minneapolis for one game.
Yeah, like I said, TV dictates a lot of that, as everybody knows, and we're not going to win that battle arguing with them, you know. So 2 trips to LA will be different. You know, I wasn't expecting that, but like I said, I think our guys will adjust. I'll adjust. You know, I've got to do, like I said, a better job in practice, keeping everybody fresh. I'm hoping we keep our depth, because I think that'll be critical. You know, if we do have everybody ready to go, healthy and playing, the advantage of playing multiple guys different ways does give us, you know, if you're playing 6 or 7 guys, and it's a big difference than if you're playing 9, 10, 11.
You mentioned in the past couple of years, just lack of depth, being able to press because you didn't want to tire your guys out. Is that something you're talking about?
Oh, absolutely. No, we're going to go back to the way we have traditionally played. This team will look or try to play in the same style as, you know, our teams, you know, really before 21, before, you know, 22, 23, 24, we haven't played quite the same way. But I'm hoping to get back to the way we want to play, you know, and you know, you know, you do something, you feel comfortable with the system, and then the system changes because, you know, of injuries or personnel. But I feel very comfortable that this group can get back to playing the way we used to play.
There's a lot of hype and expectations around Mookie Cook last year. Obviously, didn't realize that because of injuries for a lot part, but what have you seen from this offseason and this kind of his development and growth in the program?
Well, you know, it's tough. You know, it's going to be a process. He was out a full year. You know, he played in 5 games and 20-some minutes total, I think. You know, and he didn't practice. You know, very few practices. So, you know, we do practice for a reason, and, you know, we do have individual workouts for a reason to get better, and he just couldn't do them. And so, you know, he started this summer. He missed a lot even in the spring. But he started this summer gradually getting back. He's been better in the fall now. He is making progress. He's starting to rebound the ball, use his athleticism there. So, it's going to take some time. You don't miss a full year of playing and just bounce back right away. But he is making progress, and last couple of weeks he's been a lot better. So I think as we get into the season, we'll be able to use that athleticism on our press, use that athleticism defensively as he gets a better feel for offense.
What does Jamari bring to the team as the lone freshman group?
Jamari's got a gear. He's talented. He's making some freshman mistakes right now, taking some really bad shots. But no, I like his talent. He's got an edge to him. He's going to be a good player. I think as he picks up our defense and, like I said, cuts down on a few of those hopeful shots that he's taken, I think he'll blend in good. But it will take some time. He's on an experienced team, so I talked to him about it. I said, now, Bud, you're playing against 22, 23-year-olds, and, T.J. Bomba's strong, Raheem's strong, Bam, it's just going to take a while to make that adjustment. Don't get impatient. And it's a process, but he is talented and he can shoot the ball, so he's going to be a good player.
How do you feel like Dez fits into this group?
Dez has had last couple of weeks been a lot better. So, I like his athleticism. I like his length. He also gets a little optimistic about some of his shot selection. But he's athletic and he's strong. He's having a little shoulder issue right now that has kind of slowed him down. But no, I like Dez. I think he's, he and Jamari they both got a lot of upside. Just going to take a while. They don't have the experience that some of our other guys do. And so it's just going to take a little bit longer for them to blend in.
After avoiding Creighton for that many years, did you just have so much fun in the tournament that you couldn't be held back from playing them in Vegas?
Who knows what's going to happen there? But no, it's a great tournament, and there's still some debate on how they're going to put, I'm pretty sure the schedule's going to stick, but they could still change some things just with, how it's set up. But they've got 8 really good teams there, with the exception of Rutgers. We will probably have a chance to play any of them. But I don't know. They're going through, a lot of the other promoters and everybody, looking at this tournament. And so we'll see how it all blends out. But, I like the aggressiveness. I like what they're doing for the players. And our players are excited about it. We're playing good teams. So we're looking forward to a long week. They moved the date, till Saturday. We're supposed to play Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. And TV, of course, moved it to Saturday. So we'll see how that blends out.
Are you still committed to playing in that multiple years? That's a big thing.
Yeah. No. The players want to play. So, no, I mean, it's just where the game's going. And so, but the players feel, it's something they want to do and good competition. I like the fact that it's in Vegas, so we don't have to travel very far. No, I think it's good. It's good for the players. I think it's great competition, so it'll be great for our team. But anytime you do something new like this, there's always some bumps in the road. And since we're playing in the first year, but I believe in what they're doing. I believe in the, helping the players out. And so I think it's good for our program to be in it.
That's talking about that tournament that the Ducks will play in over the Thanksgiving holiday or over that week. So it will be a Tuesday, Wednesday, and then Saturday. Ducks have a little bit of extra prep time to get ready for that Saturday game. That's what Coach Altman was just alluding to there. A lot of season preview with Coach Altman, and again, not next Monday, but the following Monday, Oregon men's basketball season starts. I was just going over as Coach Altman was talking there, and I've been thinking about it. Like, I've been going over my notes, and it's an experienced team that Dana Altman has. Just to summarize a bit, like you talk about a TJ Bamba guy who's a senior, right? You talk about Jackson Shellstad who played he played in all 32 games, started in 30 of them for the Ducks last year. Just there's experience in the backcourt. And I think that the Ducks have a bright season ahead of them with more depth. 13 scholarship athletes, a couple walk-ons that they've been able to utilize in practice. Good stuff for Dana Altman's team. Time out. When we return, more on Oregon football. Back to that matchup with the Fighting Illini here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear autumn leaves, you won't be covering roads alone this season. Take on fall in the powerful Toyota Tundra or tackle trails in a Tacoma. Head to Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear autumn leaves, you won't be covering roads alone this season. Take on fall in the powerful Toyota Tundra or tackle trails in a Tacoma. Head to Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live. For the better of myself, my family, my weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, know it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now. So good to see you.
Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Question in the comments about what the rotation is going to look like for Oregon this season. About 8 players. I think early in the season, Oregon, especially those first 4 non-conference games at home, I think it's more than just 8 players. I mean, Jackson Shellstad's a preseason all-conference guy. You know that he's going to play a big role. TJ Bamba from Washington State and Villanova, a senior, 6'5", plays that guard position really strong. I think TJ Bamba's in the rotation. Keyshawn Barthelemy electing to come back. I think he provides a great option for Oregon. And he'd really, it sucked so much when he got hurt last year, not just because injuries suck, but also he had just settled into that role. It felt like that speed burst that Keyshawn Barthelemy had coming off the bench for Oregon late in the season before he got hurt. Felt like that things were settled in for the Ducks in that regard. So I think that Keyshawn Barthelemy probably figures to be in that rotation. Supreme Cook's been the guy that's banged up, the one guy that's been banged up. I don't know what he'll be like in the rotation here moving forward. And then Brandon Angel, we saw how good he can be. He was a starter at Stanford. I think he's in the rotation. I think Nate Biddle, if he's healthy, he's certainly in that rotation. I think KJ Evans is in that rotation. And then Mookie Cook, 5-star recruit we didn't see very much of last year. And then you heard Coach saying Desdrick Lindsey and then also Jamari Phillips, the guys that have upside, they just don't have that same level of experience. I don't know if that's a fair answer to your question. I didn't even say Bam Tracy, and I didn't even say Raheem Moss. It's not a fair answer to your question, but I do think that the Ducks have some depth this year, and that 8-man rotation, that may settle in maybe after that Players Era Festival over Thanksgiving. Now talking about a little more football, I thought we'd have time for Dylan Gabriel, but instead let's save Dylan Gabriel for tomorrow if you missed it. Instead, let's hear a bit from Kenyon Sadiq, a guy who has made such a big impact. Terrence Ferguson absent last week. Kenyon Sadiq made some plays both in the pass game and in the run game. And that tight end spot, yeah, getting in space and having that mismatch defensively can lead to some big-time plays like we saw from Kenyon Sadiq. But truthfully, when those tight ends are blocking, that's where those explosion plays occur in the run game. Tight end, such an important part of what the Ducks are trying to do. Kenyon Sadiq meeting with the media this week.
What's it been like preparing when last week specifically you knew you were going to have a bigger role with Terrence down later in the week?
Right. I think it's just always kind of being ready and always kind of preparing the same way. Coaches are pretty big on that. So nothing really changed. Obviously, it was nice to get in a little more, but I don't say anything really changed.
How much fun is it to have a bigger role out there on the field?
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of fun to kind of just get out there and kind of, let loose, something I've, kind of wanted to do, and, unfortunate circumstance that got there, but, yeah, it was good to get out there.
What are your thoughts on having that #1 ranking?
It just kind of is what it is. Just going to keep going.
I feel like on Friday you were able to kind of show what you can do with the football after the catch. I know we've seen a little bit of that, but a couple big ones there.
Oh, yeah, like I said, it was nice to get out there. Getting the ball in space, it's haven't necessarily had the opportunity to do, so, getting out there and do that, it was good.
Let's do the one where you cut back there across the middle of the field, just because there's not a lot of tight ends who necessarily look to do that, but there's not a lot of tight ends who have your athleticism either. So
yeah, I thought I could, try and get the edge. I got a little tired, I'm not going to lie, towards the end there, but, yeah, I thought I'd give it a shot.
Where have you grown as a blocker?
A blocker, yeah, that's my biggest improvement for sure. I feel a lot more comfortable in all areas where it's perimeter blocking or down on the line of scrimmage. I feel really comfortable just using my technique and lower pad level.
How important is that improvement now where you're stepping in and maybe filling in for Terrence for a minute, or that's the strength of his times?
Right, yeah, I just think of just being in any position, coaches, harp on us all be able to do the same thing. So it doesn't matter where I'm at, got to be able to perform to a certain standard.
A lot of people have mentioned you're one of the fastest guys on the team. Do you know what the highest miles per hour you've been tracked at is?
Yeah, it was 22.3, 22.4, something like that.
It's a little different this season, Kenyon, that how Will's been incorporating when you and Terrence are both on the field together, whether it's out of 12 or against Ohio State, that 0-2 package, which we hadn't seen a lot of. Mm-hmm. How is that different than last season and the role you had last season?
Yeah, last season I was just kind of testing it out, get a feel for what college football is like, getting an experience, whether it's not on the field, just on tape and stuff. But yeah, just utilizing different things, just making defenses adjust to what we do is big.
How important is it that, you do take advantage of those opponents where you guys can get a good enough lead and that you can have some of the younger players like you were last year, get some of that experience like your players were able to do in the fourth quarter against Purdue? How important is that, for the next year of development that you have that experience under your belt?
Right, yeah, it's huge. Even being last year and getting in some of those earlier games, it just means so much for your confidence, especially, and just getting a feel for what it's like on the field means a lot to those younger guys. So just getting in and getting it done early so those guys can get in is huge for sure.
How do you feel, Coach talked a lot about how he was most proud of the way that those players came in and kind of upheld the standard. Just what were your feelings in those moments, seeing some of those guys go out and make some big plays?
Right, I feel like it's expected, getting on the field. Those guys are just as good as any of us, you know what I mean? And our roster is so deep, which is, crucial to the season. So no matter who's out there, plays are going to be made for sure.
Their edge, number 17, has been pretty effective. When you talk about perimeter blocking, what makes him effective? What's that matchup going to be like for you?
It's just going to be hat on hat, who wants it more. So we got to be the more physical team on the perimeter and, up in the O-line. So just getting it through, being more physical.
How you guys improved a little bit red zone offensively, Kenyon, in terms of, obviously you guys scored all 5 touchdowns last week, but maybe some of those short yardage runs were a little bit harder to come by. How do you get that improvement there, particularly when it's 3 and 4 tight ends out of the same time?
Right. I just think it's mindset, getting bigger bodies on the field, and then it's just who wants it more, like I said. We're just out physical guys on the goal line. When it comes down to it, we're going to get the ball in.
Can you speak to the growth from both Roger and Zach and kind of what they're able to do? Obviously, they're now seeing a little bit bigger roles.
Mm-hmm. Right. Each of those guys, I think any other tight ends, we're going to feel comfortable being on the field with. All of us are playmakers in different aspects of the game. And we each bring different things to the game. So it's cool that we get to all be on the field at once. Like I said, we just get it done.
Kenyon Sadiq, and I love the question about his blocking and how much he's grown as a blocker. I feel like for tight ends and wide receivers, the blocking aspect is often the next evolution of their game. After they come into the college level playing football, I feel like that blocking around the perimeter is one of the biggest growth points for a tight end or a wide receiver. Now, like running backs often say that pass protection is the number one thing that they develop when they're in college compared to the high school ranks. Kenyon Sadiq, though, I think we've seen the flashes. We've seen the flashes of just how good he can be. When we come back, we're going to switch gears, talk a little defense. Matayo Uiagalelei, a guy who's gotten home on the quarterback a few times lately. Duck sophomore when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Continuing to preview Oregon and Illinois coming up, a 12:30 kickoff. Televised on CBS, we'll have a 10:30 pregame show for you across the Oregon Sports Network. We heard a bit from Kenyon Sadiq. Now Matayo Uiagalelei. And I talk about getting home on the quarterback. I think that some of you will chuckle about his answers when sometimes quarterback sees him coming. I mean, if I was the quarterback, I'd probably do what we've seen some quarterbacks do when Matayo Uiagalelei comes after him.
We've had a couple of sacks these last few weeks where quarterbacks suddenly turn around looking at you and they don't have a blocker. Yeah. What's going through your mind when you kind of walk into a couple of those?
It'll just be like I get a down block and I'm free and I'm just in space. So I'm just reading the play and then I realize this pass. I'm running after the quarterback trying not to get juked out. I don't know, like last couple of weeks they just been falling down. I'm like making my sacks look kind of like soft, but I don't know. But yeah.
Where's been your biggest improvements, you feel like, your development from year one to now year two?
I think mentally, just being prepared before the game, like kind of knowing what to expect, like before the play, and then just reacting after the play. I think mentally is the biggest improvement.
Who do you lean on for that? Is that just your own work or?
Yeah, but I mean, really just, Coach Cam, my position coach, Coach LaPoy, just like all the meetings we put in a lot of meetings, a lot of stuff like after practice, after like bonus time, after hours, even like now in the summer and the off season. So I just say it's from all that.
this was the defense's first shutout in over a decade, since 2012. Has that kind of been a goal for you guys this year, is to get that shutout? I know you've been close in a couple games before. Was that just like the next goal on your board to knock down, or?
I mean, I say it's a goal every game to get a shutout, but I didn't even know that about like the last time we did it was like 10 years ago. So maybe for the coaches, but I don't know. I mean, it's a goal every game, but it was pretty cool to get a shutout and finding it was like the first time in a long time we got one.
What kind of discipline does it take to do that? From not just your position, but from every position on the defense.
Yeah, I think it really just comes down to doing your job. If everybody do their job on a play, we should stop them on every play. We should hold them to 0 points. So just everybody doing their job. Some people's job might be harder, but it just comes within practice and just working on it.
Is that something you guys were thinking about late game, preserving that shutout? I saw, like Bryce came back in, I think, on their second to last drive when they were in the red zone.
I don't even know. I don't know. Yeah, my bad.
When you're looking at the film, what makes this Illinois quarterback different than maybe the quarterbacks that you faced already this season?
I think he's smart with the ball, and then he has really good legs. Just running the ball. He's pretty mobile.
What are the things you guys can do from a defensive front standpoint, Taylor? He takes a lot of negative plays, but it doesn't end up in turnovers. So how do you – is there something that the front can do to convert negative plays to more turnovers? And that's
just practice getting the ball out, you know what I'm saying? Stop the run, but you got a chance at the running back, quarterback, try and punch the ball out, rip at it, try and do anything to take the ball out. Say that.
With Birch out these last couple of weeks, how much more have you had to play either 4-eye or 5 compared to even last season or earlier this season?
Yeah, it's been some more 4-eye, some more like big end type stuff. But shoot, I mean, I think really the only, like if Birch is coming out, even if he's coming out and I'm coming in, I'm playing big end anyway. So I think just more reps in total, but just knowing his position, I feel like that's what I've been doing before he was hurt. So just knowing I'm going to get more reps.
Do you like 4-eye more than a 7 or a 9? Or?
Sure, I'll play whatever, but I mean, if it's like pass, I'd rather be on the edge, you know what I'm saying? But sure, it don't really matter.
Matayo Uiagalelei meeting with the media. I just love the honesty of, making his sacks sometimes look a little soft. I mean, when a quarterback sees him unblocked, if I'm a quarterback, I'd be like, well, been nice knowing you. I mean, Matayo Uiagalelei today also got some great credit from his teammates just for how hard he worked when he first got here. Now we're seeing that's why a guy takes that freshman to sophomore jump. That's what it takes. Tomorrow on the show, we'll review the Oregon Football Coaches Show. Tez Johnson will be with us tonight, 7 o'clock across the Oregon Sports Network and the Oregon Football and GoDuck social media channels. We'll see you then. Also, talking with Brian Barnhart, our counterpart from Illinois. See you then.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow. You sound just like